Tonight, a hotel employee is electrocuted. The resort is said to be complying with the police investigation. A man is shot multiple times in Dennery. His family speaks in the aftermath of the shooting. And a woman is found unresponsive in government quarantine and is now in ICU. The details of these stories and more coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Monday, the 24th of August, 2020. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News on Flow Channel 117, Kiss FM, our Caribbean Hot FM mobile app, and our Caribbean Hot 7 TV Facebook page. I'm Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. A Dennery man was shot multiple times on Monday morning. He has been identified as Danny Severin. Police received the report of the shooting at Lackey Dennery at about 6:40 a.m. Police sources confirmed that Severin sustained multiple gunshot wounds. Our last report on his condition prior to news time was that he was alive and undergoing surgery. Fire Service spokesperson Stacey Joseph gave the details of the response to the shooting.
Officers at the Dennery Fire Station responded to a call on Monday, 24th August at approximately 6:47 a.m. The information received stated that a male individual was allegedly shot in Lackey Dennery. Arriving emergency personnel found the individual lying in the back of a car with what appeared to be multiple penetrating wounds on his body. He was transferred to the ambulance where his wounds were treated and rapid emergency transportation was given to the St. Jude Hospital. He remained in a serious but stable condition en route to the hospital and was left in the care of a medical practitioner.
In this footage compliments GVD TV, we hear from family members of the shooting victim.
Well, at this time I'm feeling a little better than this morning, because this morning I heard he was dead and he's not dead. Although people have everywhere circulating he's dead, he's still alive, and God is still alive, and he will live, because none of them did give him life. My brother never have no problem with nobody. As a matter of fact, he's the most coward in all my relatives. He's very coward. But he have a lot of people that are jealous about him, that are jealous of him. That's why they're trying to take his life. But I tell them, no, they cannot take his life just so. Saturday I talk to my brother. I tell my brother you have to be careful, because since last week they had a shooting by his home. And they had a fella, he had a case with the fella had given him some stones, knock him stones, and the fella paid his passage and go overseas. And now the fella is back around, and no police never arrest the fella for that case. So I find the police force, they should step up, especially in the area of Lackey. For the past how many weeks, Lackey have gunshots? Every day, every blessed day, Lackey have gunshots. The policemen need to step up.
No one has been arrested in connection with the shooting. Sources within the community speculate that the shooting is connected to ongoing tensions between rival groups in that community. In other news, a 32-year-old employee of the premium resort Cap Maison lost his life in an accident on Saturday afternoon. According to sources, 32-year-old Shale Louis had been employed at the resort for 9 years. He was on property when he went off to one of the villas to conduct a routine check on the pool. It is believed that whilst he was investigating an overflow issue of the pool in the pump room, he was electrocuted. His body was discovered by hotel staff. Fire Service spokesperson Stacey Joseph says burn marks were evident on Lewis's lifeless body.
On Saturday, August 22nd at approximately 4:50 p.m., the Castries Fire Station received a call informing of a possible electrocution in Cap Estate, Gros-Islet. The responding emergency personnel found a male individual lying face down on the floor. An assessment revealed that the patient was unresponsive, breathless, and pulseless, with what appeared to be burn marks on his body. Due to obvious signs of death, the police summoned a medical practitioner to the scene. The individual was later pronounced dead and the scene handed over to the police.
The hotel is currently giving its full cooperation to police as they conduct an investigation into the incident. The hotel has also reached out to the family of the deceased out of consolation and to discuss the way forward. Whilst the hotel has suffered its share of tragedies, including the 2014 murder of Oliver Gobar and the 2015 murder of staff Yana Auguste, Saturday's tragedy is the first of its kind since the opening of the resort in Cap Estate. An investigation is underway by health officials to determine the circumstances surrounding the discovery of an unresponsive woman at a government quarantine facility. The woman is currently in the ICU. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sharon Belmar-George issued a statement on the matter Monday.
On Sunday, August 23, 2020, a 48-year-old national who returned to St. Lucia on Friday, August 21, 2020, was found unresponsive in her room at one of the national quarantine sites by the nurses during a routine review. She was rushed to the respiratory hospital via ambulance and is presently at the intensive care unit at the OKEU hospital receiving care.
The Ministry of Health has since received the results of the COVID-19 test for the woman in question.
The COVID-19 test conducted on this patient was negative. The medical team is presently conducting the necessary investigations to determine the cause of her condition and to clinically manage her. Further updates on this patient and the national COVID-19 response will be provided.
To date, a total of 5,138 COVID-19 tests have been conducted, out of which 26 confirmed cases of COVID-19 have been recorded. Of these 26 cases, 25 have fully recovered. The last case, which was recorded on Tuesday, the 18th of August, is a repatriated national who is currently in care and stable at the respiratory hospital. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sharon Belmar-George has signaled the green light for the Department of Education to move forward with the return of students to physical classroom instruction for the new academic year. Dr. Belmar-George says this resumption will greatly reflect the protocols and principles of the reopening of the island's economy. She notes that according to current data, the possibility of a spike in COVID-19 cases following the reopening of schools is minimal. Shaka Wooding reports.
With the approval of Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sharon Belmar-George added to that of the Cabinet and the Education Minister, the Department of Education is authorized to pursue its proposed model for a safe return of the full student population to a classroom environment. Dr. Belmar-George joined education officials on Monday, August 24th, to detail the reopening as it related to health and safety protocols. According to the CMO, schools will adapt similar protocols as to what is mandated by the Ministry of Environmental Health for the resumption of economic activity, noting that these have proven very effective thus far.
As the country continues the phased reopening, the education sector is of importance within the national plan for managing COVID-19. The decision to reopen schools is guided by a risk-based approach to protect the health and promote the safety of students, teachers, staff, and the communities. Evidence-based measures guide the recommendations and protocols that have been put in place to continue as we open up the economy and ensure that our population can live safely with COVID-19. The very same approach is being applied to the reopening of our schools.
Belmar-George says as it pertains to concerns for young children catching viruses, there has been heavy consideration to the national COVID-19 statistics. She underscored that to date there has been no indication of community spread on island, adding that in the case of possible infection, children have shown to be one of the most resilient groups against COVID-19 symptoms, rarely developing serious complications.
We have to look at how COVID-19 manifests in our children of school age. And the data which has been noted in schools, in countries which have opened schools, we have to look at this and be guided by it and look at our local situation in making our decisions as well. A small proportion of COVID-19 cases are children, and children are less likely to be hospitalized or have fatal outcomes compared to adults.
The CMO says as local authorities continue to observe other countries who have returned to classroom instruction, all indications suggest that child-to-child transmission of COVID-19 is very low, given that the necessary measures of physical distancing and mask wearing are properly enforced. Jacques Wooding, Hot 7 News.
You're watching the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, the Ministry of Education maps out how exactly the school week will work. Kenson Casimir makes his Market Steps debut, albeit virtually. And the man taken into custody by CCC after they seized a vendor's trolley speaks out, claiming that the verbal abuse was initiated by a CCC officer. That and more coming up after the break.